Every week we show you Alaska's finest lodges, run by the best hosts and employing the best guides. But what does it really take to own a lodge or be a guide? A lot more work than their guests ever see. No doubt about it, we've been to some fantastic lodges in Alaska. The fact that people come from all over the world to visit these places show how special they really are. Many are situated in beautiful, out-of-the-way places, and the lodges themselves add to the dramatic lay of the land and water. Inside, many lodges are furnished to the max for comfort and relaxation, and the food keeps coming and coming. Outside, the real purpose of lodges is obvious. They're strategically placed to take advantage of the best fishing and hunting areas in Alaska.
Come again.
Look at that.
That's a
That's 200.
That's a nice job.
And generally, you're not sent out alone from a lodge. An experienced guide tags along to ensure your adventure is safe and successful. It's obvious that people who run lodges or work as guides up here have a passion for what they do.
I grew up basically guiding and not knowing that's what it was called, helping all my friends and family. I was just attracted to helping people catch fish or, get that animal they've always wanted. And I was successful at doing that myself and spent a lot of time and energy, and it was my passion. Well, Heather, she likes to hunt and fish more than I do. And she actually said, look, if you're going to be taking all your friends and family this many times over and over and over, you maybe ought to think about doing this as a business.
To do this business in a remote location, you have to be passionate about it. I dreamed about it since I was a small child, and that is a lie. I did not. My husband dreamed about being a lodge owner in Alaska, in the bush of Alaska. And the thing is that if you think you're going to Alaska, you have this picture in your mind, what that lodge should look like. Log, fireplace, beautiful view on a scenic river with incredible fishing. And I think he nailed it.
In reality, many lodge owners started out just like you. People who just loved Alaska and wanted to spend time here, but they didn't necessarily expect all the challenges that owning a lodge would create.
I've often thought to myself that if I knew when I started this what it was going to be like down the road, I'm not sure I would have started it.
I can honestly say I wasn't probably positive that when I first got here, but it's been an interesting part of our life that we built together. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Some lodge owners, like Sally and Jeff Apple, bought existing lodges that had closed some time before. Others, though, have built from scratch, a huge undertaking considering the remote locations.
Take, for instance, Sultry Lodge, located near Ketchikan. Lumber, workers, and even cement trucks had to be brought in by cargo boat. What might be a routine building project in a more urban area becomes a massive job when it's in a wilderness setting. But some lodges are so remote that shipping in all the supplies is just too expensive or isn't even an option.
Because of the cost of getting things this far out, we did bring in a sawmill finally. We originally had a chainsaw mill, which most of this lodge was built with.
The original structure was supposedly built in 1953 to 1954, 350 square feet, small logs right from this local area.
I moved to Lake Louise with my parents in 1985. Later on in the 1980s, my parents had log weavers come and had a crane, a boom to put them up, and they hand peeled the logs out here on the lawn and notched them with chainsaws, and just a piece of artwork with 3 guys. And then when we purchased the lodge in 2007, and we added the next addition on for our family.
But once a lodge is built and running, the work has really just begun, even on the structure itself. People come to Alaskan lodges because they get to experience extreme and rugged conditions from the comfort of a luxury dwelling. But those same extreme conditions can be a lodge's worst enemy.
You know, every spring when we come back out here, it's like trying to restart this giant machine with all these moving parts.
What we do now is we pump RV antifreeze through the entire system, 700 gallons every fall.
You never really know what you're going to walk into in spite of the fact of having a resident caretaker on site.
It is now the middle of June. We have been here since March 26th with a crew of quite a few people just getting the place ready.
This year we had to repair several holes in buildings. We had a 7 kW wind generator that the winds got so high it tore the blades off of and threw them through the buildings.
Tides, big tides in the wintertime, huge tides, and they tear up the dock and the ramp.
The ice could come through and tear up the ramp. One year we had the ice come through and tip over 4,000 pounds of boat into the tundra.
I mean, the place was working perfectly fine when we left at the end of September. And yet it takes that long to get everything put back together again and de-winterized and put back into operation.
Preserving a lodge through the extremes of an Alaskan year begins long before the first guests of the season arrive and long after the last guest leaves. It's part of the work that no visitor ever sees, but is essential to keep the lodge operating.
There is no one that could afford to buy this place that wants to work as hard at it as we are. You know, if they've got that much money, they're not interested in putting in the kind of hours that we put in and carrying the kind of liabilities and responsibilities that we carry, day in and day out.
And those liabilities are compounded by the isolated setting of many lodges. The precarious nature of owning a remote lodge was impressed on us at our last visit to Elfin Cove, a tiny fishing community about 85 miles west of Juneau. In June 2010, we were shooting some fishing episodes from Tanaku Lodge. Around 2 in the morning of the 19th, we awoke to the sounds of an alarm and explosions from the other side of the cove. A lodge just several hundred yards away was engulfed in flames. The owners and crew of the Tanaku Lodge had already taken the boats across to assist, and virtually the whole community on that side of the cove was scrambling to contain the fire.
We all got our equipment and everything, got into the skiff, and was just, the whole thing was engulfed. There's nothing you could do at that time for the lodge.
And my daughter woke me up because she went downstairs and saw the building next door to us. And so she ran up and woke me up. And we got out of the building safe.
If it was going to get on any further on the other side of the wall, it was going to climb to the next building and just keep going. They'd just climb from building to building to building.
The fire was spreading so quickly, we ended up doing a bucket brigade.
Just everybody came and helped. So it was like our whole family was here helping us.
We were able to contain the fire, otherwise we'd have lost the whole community over there.
Sadly, years of work disappeared overnight as the lodge and restaurant were completely destroyed by the fire. But the tenacious owners refused to be beat.
It's going to be fine. We're all fine, and we'll just carry on. You know, in a small community like this is the only restaurant and stuff here, so I've always been around all the fishermen, the commercial fishermen, and the sport guys that always come here to see me, and, you know, I'm going to get back in business for them, so there's a place for them.
It takes a tough breed of people just to live in remote Alaska, and perhaps even tougher to run a lodge.
Just building a lodge and maintaining it through Alaska's harsh climate is hard enough, but there are numerous other problems with living off the grid. Power and water management are two of the biggest challenges of living where municipal utilities don't reach.
All of our water comes from rainwater on top of roofs. I've got 2 processing plants. We're totally self-contained.
You know, the cost of fuel, by the time we get it here, is so incredibly expensive. It's just not possible to not consider renewable energy. And so that's why we've gone into the solar systems. We run about 6,000 watts of solar energy out here, which is enough to run the lodge most all the time.
In 2004, my folks installed a hydroelectric system. It was a big undertaking, and they put in about 1,400 feet of 6-inch pipe up the mountain and tied into Iron Creek, and took that water and turned it into electricity through a hydroelectric system. It charges up a bank of batteries, which is then inverted to AC power, which runs our entire facility. We went from generator power, diesel generator had to be on or off, to 24-hour clean, quiet electricity. It's awesome to have it.
Solar, wind, hydro, and generators are the only ways to have electricity in the wilderness. But these sources aren't fail-proof, and when they go down, lodge owners have to be ready to fix the problem or improvise themselves.
The learning curve in the bush is something that very few get to experience, and it has been ongoing. It never stops. It happens every year. I learn something new, something different, how to do it better.
There's no manual for how to do this, and I know more now about things I never ever wanted to know anything about, and I'll never use ever again.
In our experience, lodge workers and guides have been surprisingly versatile, capable of fixing a variety of problems while still maintaining a comfortable experience for their guests. But how do you find that kind of can-do personnel to work at your lodge? Hiring a good staff can be a lodge owner's hardest job.
Essentially, you have a huge turnover in staff every year. That is a huge challenge, especially when you have the kind of clientele that we do that travel everywhere, go everywhere, and can afford the best. And they expect the best from us, and yet we have to start over every year.
Everybody wants to come to Alaska to work, but not very many people really want to come to Alaska to work.
I tell my potential hirees as guides that, hey, your CV says you're a terrific fisherman, I'm not hiring you. What do you mean? I can throw a fly line 400 feet. Well, I don't care, you're not very personable.
Chemistry and that balance of chemistry is real important, and it's very difficult.
How old were you when you got your captain's license?
I was 19.
19? Came up, kind of grew up in the business, right?
Yeah, I got thrown on a charter boat when I was about 15 years old, and got handed a toothbrush and said start scrubbing.
Good memories or bad memories?
Oh, really good memories. Yeah. They've just been getting better.
I tell people it's like being in a Broadway play for 8 hours. You're on.
Csonka, he's on! He's on, baby! He's on!
Every person that I talk to, I tell them their worst day. I don't sugarcoat anything. You're going to work for 115 days straight. You may not get a day off.
Long days. We work about 90 days straight. We don't have a day off all summer. We're up at 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, down on our boats, preparing bait, getting the boat ready, bait cut and salted, ready to go. We don't see cars for 3 months. We're out here, like I said, 90 days straight on a boat, working all the time, and there's a fish on that line right there.
By and large, the guides, captains, deckhands, and general staff of the locations we visited have been outstanding. They're hard workers, and they do it with a smile. Being a guide or owning a lodge is a more than full-time job, especially during peak season. But for many of the lodge owners or outfitters we visit, hosting guests isn't their only business. Several also run a flight service at the same time. Others have a southern lodge they run during the winter. Some are also commercial fishermen, and others even build a side business around their original one. Randy Quincy is a prime example.
Everyone that rides in the airboat is like, wow. So 6 years ago, Heather and I decided to become a partner with Alaska Airboats, and so I'm a 50% owner of Alaska Airboats. We manufacture the boats in Wasilla, Alaska, one boat at a time. It's a real small operation. And running a company, sometimes the owner becomes the bottom of the list and the customers are top of the list, and so I've been behind schedule pretty much all summer trying to get my boat completed.
In fact, the boat we used on our hunt with Randy this year was completed just in time for our trip with him. Here's what it looked like just 2 weeks before the hunt.
From start to finish, you're looking at a 4 to 6 month process, 16 to 20 weeks, depending on the shipping to Alaska. You know, we get raw material, then all the motors and props and stuff. Now we'll just bring in the tanks and we'll just... Yeah, when most people think of an airboat, they think of running the swamps, running the shallow water, running the, you know, water without current. Well, in Alaska, we build them for rivers. It's called a river. And our stringer design, the high sides, the covered bow, covered stern, it just allows us to go through the hydraulics of river with current and be extremely safe. The hull is definitely more heavy duty. My old guide boat you guys ran out of had a soft top. We're actually designing our first hard top, so it'll be totally enclosed. This motor that I'm going to be putting on this boat is the new supercharged all aluminum GM motor from Marine Power. It's 550 horse. The newest props on this boat, the newest belt drive. It's just a lower gear reduction, gives us more torque, more power. So we're excited. I have about 5 days left to assemble this thing, and hopefully we'll be all together. We have Fish and Game, you know, they have a few of our boats. The oil companies have a few of our boats. So we have commercial use, and we also have private. But mainly it's just a great hunting tool.
Having the ability to design and customize airboats to fit Alaska's rivers, Randy has found a new niche that incorporates perfectly with his guiding business. Industriousness and ingenuity seem to be common qualities among guides, outfitters, and lodge owners. Alaska didn't necessarily make them that way. They had to be that way to make it in Alaska.
But a quality that is becoming more and more necessary for lodge owners and guides is patience. The workload of government regulation is increasing every year.
One of the biggest challenges, though, today is the regulatory processes that are coming on us.
In 1996, the year before I bought the place, the former owner dealt with 2 branches of government. Today I deal with 11.
To live within the increased regulations that are coming at us and still produce a viable product.
What used to be a one-page form is now a booklet. So I spend more hours each year just trying to meet the burden of the regulation to conduct business, and fewer hours spent being able to go solicit that business.
So, with so many challenges, how do lodge owners and guides keep going? Well, fortunately, there are blessings and rewards that far outweigh the trials. So far, the picture we've painted of owning a lodge in Alaska is one of dedication, a long list of trials and worries, and heavy responsibilities. We've mentioned these challenges because the lodges and guides of Alaska deserve a lot of credit for the role they play as ambassadors of the state. And without their hard work, this television series would have been impossible. Fortunately for all of us, these owners and guides are motivated by more than just a sense of duty or just making a living. They truly love sharing the treasure they found, Alaska.
If you want to work outside and see people at their best, and if what motivates you is being the person that can be on the other side of the camera when somebody does something next level in their own thought, if you're not in this business for that reason, then you should probably get out of this business.
I hope the guests take away good memories. And I hope that they always feel that the money that they have invested in their vacation was well spent. Not just meet their expectations, but exceed their expectations.
We both had 2 young children. We knew that it would be a great experience for the kids. And it's good that they can sit down and talk to very incredible people from all parts of the world, all lives, to have that kind of exposure to humanity. Yeah, it was great.
I think the thing that I enjoy most about sharing with guests that come to the lodge is the experience of being in the real Alaska. I know that sounds maybe kind of corny, but it really is to me. This is what Alaska's all about.
Watching it go and making it go and see people get your message, understand what you're about, and run with it. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
So what's a girl like you doing a job like this? Just lucky or what?
Enjoying life.
Enjoying life? All right, girl, that's a great answer.
You know, this is my office, so it's just wonderful to see eagles every day, bears, great fish, be with some great people. I really enjoy it.
You know, there are two types of guides in this world. Those that fish for a religion and those that fish for a paycheck. You do this because you love people. That's why I do what I do.